Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobbie Richardson. I am going live today because I felt a pull to do so. Um, so, yeah, there's this big energy shift that's happening at the moment, and my team's like, yeah, come on and channel some messages through. So that's what I'm doing. I don't usually go live on Sundays at this hour either. But this is where it's at. Um, Yeah, it's really interesting too because I was just starting to connect to my team and say, okay, show me, connect me to the shift that humanity is going through and what the collective is going through. And right as I went to go live, I tipped over my glass of water. So I had to race out to the kitchen, get a cloth, wipe it all up. And then I was thinking as I was coming back, it's literally what's happening because I did feel this anxiousness or a tension that was happening in the collective, especially those that have done a lot of the shadow work. We are apprehensive about this newness that's coming towards us and how we're actually going to be able to navigate it because it's new. It's not something that we know. The logical mind doesn't know. So there's an uncomfortableness there. And they're telling me now it's a good idea to find people that have gone through what you are trying to attain. So they might have felt comfortable with the scenario that you're moving into. So it's a good idea to go find those people that have already made it in the field that you're actually looking at making it in, and feel into how they are working with that energy. Because to you, and this could be anything, but to you, it would feel completely new. And so it's daunting to say the least because you've only been used to going around in your own circle, your own loop, your own comfort. That has been a limited concept of your reality that you've been creating up till now. So yeah, really interesting. Hey, Yannicka. Hey, Kathy. It is incredible, isn't it? So yeah, there's some really fascinating things that are coming up for us. And that's because we are literally stepping into creating a new reality and a new perception of our reality. That's how it's actually happening is that we are creating this new perception of our life and who we are in this world, and how much power we've disowned, we didn't own up to, we gave away, and how much power we can bring back, and then what that actually means to us when we do say, hey, I am a lot more powerful than that. Sorry, my dog is going off. I just shut the door so you don't hear her. Right, Kenny? Yes, she's just barking at another dog out the front. Okay. And yes, the interruptions, right? And so it's like this real kind of tension where there's things might be spilt a little bit, but it's easy to clean up. Disruptions happening in your life. It's actually they're telling me it's bringing up the fear. There's been fears that have just held you in right at the verge of stepping off a proverbial cliff into this unknown aspect of creation that you want to make, that you do desire. But it's just held you in this kind of stagnation until you have to look at that. And then when you look at that, you can go inwards and go, without blaming or pointing the finger at somebody else. That's what other people do. They have to deal with themselves, right? So their actions towards you, if they're trying to control you or whatever it is, that's what they have to deal with in the end. So karmically, it's all going to come back at all of us in that respect of, if someone's trying to control someone outside of them, then they are feeling a lack of control within themselves, and so that needs to be addressed by that person. But you can, when you see that coming towards you, release, let go, and focus on what you really want to create here. Take your power back, and then move forward. So there's this whole other perspective because we are learning at this moment. Humanity's going through a massive shift of knowing how to move through life via the soul creating, and that is opening up a whole other perspective. So there's a couple of messages that came through about this. I'll just read them out and maybe have a bit more of a channeling about them. One of them is, many things are difficult to understand until you have expanded your comprehension of your reality past the limits pulled over you to fit into a world set to stop you finding your authentic self. So that whole, it's hard to understand, so then we feel apprehensive about where we're actually going, how we're going to actually be able to balance our life and navigate our life, navigate our emotion, navigate ourselves in this next step of creation, because we've never been there before. We don't know if it's going to be easy. We don't know if it's going to be difficult. It's an unknown aspect, right? But it's difficult to understand past this unless you actually move into it, and then you feel into it, and then you use all the tools that you have gained through going through all that shadow work before to use them to navigate through the new higher frequencies that you're coming into. And they're telling me it's not going to be, you've already gone through the thick of it. The anxiety is just the apprehension of not knowing. But that you've already gone through the thick of it. You do have the tools, because you wouldn't have come to this prefaces of taking a leap of faith into the mission that you really want to go on, you know, who you truly are authentically, stepping out into this world as your authentic self. Watching how the pieces of the puzzle, the different people will come and go in your life, and accepting everything as just as it is in reflection to your empowered self now. It is a totally different story than what we were living before, which was more inclined to be like, can I fit into this world? Does this world accept me? Will I actually look like I'm a good person if I do this? Am I going to be able to take care of myself? That sort of thing. It's all very limited, because it's only coming from the logical mind, the masculine mind, which couldn't foresee past the conditioning that was pulled over our eyes by the schooling, the education, our parents, and that sort of thing. So this huge step or shift in humanity's consciousness is because there is a lot of us, there's quite a few of us that are right on this precipice of jumping into this unknown vortex of actually going to create the next step through self-awareness, through absolute trusting one's self, inner self, one's feelings to guide the way, the soul to guide the way, intuition to guide the way, the imagination to guide the way. Totally different scenario than the logical mind and trying to grab from the past and then guide the way through projection. So another thing that they brought up is, the door to the reality you desire is past the conditionings that hold you in an uncomfortable fear of what you don't know, which is what I've just been discussing just here. But I like how they poured that through. The door to the reality you desire is past the conditionings or the comfortableness that hold you in an uncomfortable. You're comfortable with you're comfortable with the fear. You're comfortable with knowing how to. Well, I've gone through that fear before, so I will bring it back to me again, because I've already navigated it before, and I know how to kind of navigate, even though I feel absolutely crap through the whole story, and by the end of it I'm in anxiety anyway. Like, there's a comfort there with the fear. And so this is learning to step past that, and recognize it as a conditioning that you've been pulled into, and that you are way beyond that now. So you're not going to keep looping back into agreeing with other people out there that are showing up as the story of your lack or your story of your fear. You're not going to agree with them anymore. You'll see through them. You'll feel into it, and you'll go, I'm not resonating anymore. I need to move away. It doesn't feel good to be in that that comfortableness isn't comfortable, is so not comfortable enough, and that's that sitting on the edge of that prefaces as well and pushing through into something else that's unknown. So the uncomfortableness then is just the unknown. It's not the anxiousness of returning back to something similar that you know is going to take you on a loop of perpetual problems and stuff like that. So also they said, okay, hang on, that's one. Then there was, here, rules were first, this is interesting. Rules were first used to give the collective an understanding of how to navigate through life when we no longer had access to our intuition. So that was really interesting. So here we are with this rule-based reality, and we don't see, you know, uh, a collective of birds, a flock of birds, or a collective of animals, or whatever, with their little hat on, going, "I dictate. This is the rule for everybody, whether you like it or not. You have to do as I say." Um, sorry, bit of acting there. Not very good acting. Anyways, but here we are, like looking at ourselves now and going, well, we've got all these rules that have accumulated and accumulated and accumulated to so many, right? And it's just to the point where we're like, okay, which rule are we doing now? The rule back then was this, and now it's a different rule. And there's just these legislations that are showing me like Harry Potter, when that the lady that wore pink all the time, that was the principal of the school at one stage, putting up all of the rule signs, and even if she had to reach way above, she just kept on piling these rules on. Um, because you cannot rule a world through logic which doesn't understand intuition. But intuition is living within the moment and feeling good about oneself and moving from that aspect, meaning that the rules are not needed. So as we are lifting ourselves into understanding the value of our intuition, and feelings that we have, and how we're guided through our soul's understanding. And intuition is actually your soul's, like a compass for your soul's navigation. Um, so when I say intuition, it's like the language of the soul. Um, and the soul is only love going on a journey. So only wants the best for you and all around you, because if all around you is in the love vibration, and you are as well, you're mirroring that sort of thing. And then as a collective, you can come together to create, to co-create. You have energy to expand, to co-create this beautiful, wonderful world that you want, or these beautiful, wonderful adventures that you want to go on. And you have that you have that now. But when you are stuck with all these rules upon rules and rules, which is only the logic trying to do the intuition's job, it doesn't work, because it's trying to dictate for everybody as a whole, when everyone's in flux of energy and different stories going like this all the time. So it's never going to suit everybody. And then so many people get caught in it, as in not feeling free from to be able to express themselves from the soul and expand reality. So they're caught in a limited concept of this reality, or humanity's um, consciousness has been caught in a limited concept. So now it's a burst of that. And first ones to do, or the ones that are doing this now, I mean, there are those that have already done this, and there's others that are coming up in the lines as well. And ready to make these jumps and leaps of faith of, I'm now going to follow my intuition rather than my logical mind, or the rule-based scenario. And the soul will show you all the cracks and crevices that the rules cannot contain. They will show you the different paths. They will show you the miracles. They will show you your gifts, the hidden gifts that you have within you, the premonitions, that I know to go this way because it just feels right for me, even though everyone else is telling me, what are you doing? That sort of thing. It also is stepping you out of your comfort zone, where once before, when you were learning just from the, or creating your world just from logic, you decided your safety net might have been, say, for instance, a home or something like that, and I want a safe space to live in. And now all of a sudden your soul is like, but you need to be free to do your mission. You need to have as least on your back as possible to do your mission. And you have these kind of that kind of fight within yourself of the safety net that wasn't really conducive, never really held stability for you anyway, because your mission was always going to be to travel, something like that. And or it could be anything for you. It could be the opposite, where you're always traveling, that was your comfort zone, but really your mission needed a home base or something like that. I'm just giving you examples. But what I'm saying is that you could be pushed into, this is what they're calling the unknown phase of your life, yourself, who you are. So this is the unknownness, and that's where the, oh my God, and that's why they said at the beginning, follow someone else who has already done that, and that will at least give you an opportunity to feel into their vibration of how they handled it. So we're now learning off the others, opposites of what we were, so that we could free ourselves from a burden that kept us so-called safe in a limited way, but it didn't give us expansion. Yeah. So that's really cool. Yeah, collective is are now starting to follow their intuitive mind instead of their logical mind, which means that a whole new perspective is showing up for us. Yes, this can bring up those hidden fears that we weren't fully aware of or were ignoring, but this is only so that we can see them to release them. This is making way for a whole new reality, because when we can create through our intuition, which is the vibe we feel from the soul, then we can create from love, not fear, as the logical mind was never meant to lead, and it was only meant to ground. Logical mind's meant to actually take these ideas, these beautiful, wonderful ideas, and then see practical means to put forward and actions that you actually do. Um, People that you want to phone up and talk to, or work that you actually physically want to put in place, like platforms and stuff and that sort of thing. That's very practical outside yourself, and so that it shows up for you, and you are now living the story that you imagined. But you are the sole compass or sole pinpoint and compass of your creation. So it comes from your imagination then, and that comes from the soul side, which is love going on a journey anyway. So we, first of all, though, we need to navigate through, we've been taught to use our imagination to bind us into fear. So that's another story of learning to use our imagination for co-creating forward into what we really love. Yeah, because that's why they pulled up a lot of movies and so forth that are fear-based. And anything in the future at the moment is all very kind of fear-based and limited, and that sort of thing. But when you start to use your imagination for the benefit of yourself, oh my God, wouldn't it be awesome to be telepathic, to be able to feel into other people and know how to navigate past deceptions so that it's never caught you again. You're already risen yourself into that fifth and higher dimension. You're risen yourself out of the unbalancedness. It's not that you've risen yourself out of the third dimension, because the third dimension is part of our story, because we are in this physical world, which is a third dimensional world. We're not leaving this third dimensional world, but we're expanding into that fifth dimensional aspect of ourself, which is intuition, connecting to our soul, which takes us on a much broader, expansive journey. It's very beautiful. Yeah. So the actual shift that's happening at the moment with humanity's consciousness is because there's quite a lot of us that are doing this work all at the same time. There's been these drips and drabs of beautiful, wonderful people who have found their way through it all, but then there's others that have held back, held back, held back, and then they've gone, now we are ready, because we feel this collective energy pulling together, and we want to do it together, because then we have more suctions, like kind of like they're showing me a, a vortex, that's a suction that will actually pull out a lot more of the unwoken. It will lift them into seeing our light. And when somebody looks up to see your light, then they are stopping in their world and looking at some other world that they can attain that they never saw before, because you are now living your dream life. So that's where all the gifts start coming through. You start to see outside of yourself, in reflection. The path is starting to clear for you, because up till now you probably felt like you're in a fog, and you're not really sure where to go, but you know you're going somewhere, and it's just been a little bit like fear coming up and anxiety, and then I feel really beautiful and peaceful again, and a bit of a yo-yo feeling over the last year or so, or even more. Now we are right. There is a collective that is going to jump. And when that happens, we're going to see within the collective of humanity, a different stories showing up, because because the ones that have popped out of the fear-based scenario are now living their dream life. They feel safe, grounded on this planet. So when they feel safe, grounded on this planet, or grounded within themselves, grounded within their own body, and knowing that whatever decision they make, they are safe, then they will be talking more. They will go live more. They will be seen more, and then others will come in as that natural magnet of soul connection that will have the same inspirations. And so a collective of community is created in humanity's consciousness, or in a humanity's awareness, and so it becomes quite a vibrational force that is as connected to this third dimensional aspect of the physical world, as well as the higher end realities of love, and not just in this etheric world, where before we were just in an etheric world and playing out the fear-based game in this physical world. We're connecting them together, so there's a collective that is uniting their right hemisphere with their left hemisphere and moving through this life balanced again. And so they have no fear, because they will always trust their gut and their instincts and their intuition, and they will always trust their logic as well to point them in the right direction of what's needed to be done in a physical way, to create the reality that they really want. And so miracles will start to take place, because the logical mind knows now when to let go and allow the miracle to flow, which is a miracle is a story that the logical mind hasn't actually played out in a full comprehensive way. So the logical mind's usually likes to have this whole, well, I get in my car and I go to work and I do, and it has everything planned out and compartmentalized sort of movements. A miracle is when an imagination has come in, and then the logical mind's gone, I really love that imagination, so I'm going to let go enough to see it come in real time into my life without so much of the storyline, the compartmentalized storyline. So it's let go enough to allow the miracles to actually happen. And that all comes from within us, right? And the way that we navigate our minds and our story and our perceptions of our life. And so then you're walking miracles as well. And it's not to say that everything will be a miracle. Sometimes we like to play out the story of the compartmentalized logical mind, because that's the adventure. We like to have it go like that. But when we do bring in the miracles, so too comes the gifts. So the gifts of teleportation, because you can now shift from one area in your life straight to another area over here, and it doesn't make sense, that logical mind, but you've been able to let go of the surrounding story that you have, and so much so that you can recreate yourself in another story. And so teleportation is actually an advancement of gifts coming for those that are working with that gift. But they would have had to have gone through a scenario within their lifespan of learning to let go, learning to let go, learning to let go, learning to let go. And they're like, why am I always learning to let go? Because actually on the other side of this is a gift of, well, now you know how to let go and the advantages of it. You can actually recreate your story as you shift through to another position on Earth. It's really interesting what they're bringing through. So that it's to do with gifts coming like that because of this awareness of allowing the logical mind, allowing miracles to happen, because it is let go enough to allow it to happen. But then we could say, well, I don't want any miracles. I just want to play out my life very simplistically in a logical manner, and the story just goes beautifully and just calmly, and that's absolutely valid as well. There is no wrong and right here when we come to the soul's evolution and what we actually want to experience here on Earth. So we're not like judging anyone for doing whatever they choose to do. The only judgment would be placed on yourself, because you have limited yourself again in the fear-based scenario. Excuse me. So I'm glad that I went live this morning, because those messages that are coming through are really starting to become clearer and understanding for myself. And so it's easy for me to translate them for you guys. Hey, Celtic, good to see you. Thank you for sharing that about my school, Patreon school, AMAKEL, which has got lots of intuitive games and really fun stuff over there. Also, I just created a video just recently, and it is just a straight journey through space, going on UFOs and that. It's like a bridge. It's not like the whole aspect of where humanity can go. It's just one story of going on a UFO and going out into space and having a bit of a journey and seeing different vibrations and all that sort of stuff through, this journey. So if you want to go have a look at that, I created it because I wanted something to fall asleep to that connected me to benevolent beings and going off this planet for a while to give myself some reprise. So it was actually created for me more than anything. But if you guys, I thought to share it with you guys. Anyways, it has no messages and it's just straight music and videos. Is there any other messages that want to come through about humanity's shift and where we're actually going here? So yeah, this is why they're saying big changes are going to actually happen. And it's going to happen through love. So there's not going to be that whole, there's been this kind of falsity through movies of how humanity will progress with gifts, and how it's all going to be backlash and stuff like that. But it doesn't work that way, because when you're in a clear environment of yourself, you already know how to navigate through using your feelings, darting around things that are not coming from a balanced place themselves. So it's lifting you into a whole other story on Earth while you are here. And others can, it's like shifting the veil, so those that haven't awoken will still be able to see you and see your game play out, or your life play out, the reality that you're creating that's in a beautiful scenario play out. They will be able to see it start to happen, and that's meaning that you are their light. So if we all just jumped into that years ago without doing so much of the work, or going back and forth to try to help others, if we just jumped ages ago, they're telling me then that it still would have been too big a distance for those that are asleep, and hadn't have had enough push, like you've had to go through the same resistance as what they have in some respects, just so that when you are ready, you are still tethered to them who are unasleep enough to be like the guiding light, where our guiding light could have been an etheric being. That's been what it certainly was with me in my journey. That's why I had a lot of weirdo coincidences and signs and weirdo things happening. So many stories of that sort of thing happening, finding gold bracelets in the sand because they told me that that's where to dig and that sort of thing, and meeting up with Cherokee elders who taught to me telepathically, going to Uluru with David Icke, and connecting to the mountain and having the premonition dream before I even went, and all that sort of stuff. It's like they were my guiding light through my journey. And now we're going to be the guiding lights for a bunch of others that are starting to hang on a sec. Our story feels too uncomfortable to stay here. And so they are showing me that suction again. It's like something pulled through something smaller. So we go through, but we're bringing through all these people. We're opening the doorway for humanity's consciousness to be wide open. I mean, reality is what we created, right? And what we are focusing on. And if we're taught to focus on all the limited, small stuff about ourselves and that we're useless and all that sort of thing, then we will stay a victim to those that have tried to control us and keep us in a limited consciousness. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else. I hope that this video is not taken down. I have taken down one of these videos already of mine that were very profound messages. See if anything else comes through. It's okay though. I'll just keep repeating them. Not going anywhere. It's fun. So yeah, actually, just for fun, I mean, this is one of those unique situations. I don't usually go live on a Sunday. It's Sunday here, by the way, in Australia. I might just pull a couple of cards, because I usually just do channeling, and I'm still going to do just channeling on Tuesday, and then just cards on Thursday. But let's just see. Is there any other messages that want to come through though first? No, we'll pull a card. Okay. You're in the school, Kathy. You love it. So much fun. Good practice for tuning the left and right so it works. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I love that, Kathy. Yeah, it is. It's a really good school. I've created these games, intuitive games, and I've made 3 of them or 4 of them, something exactly the same, but I choose something different. So you don't know which one in the end that you've actually chosen. So you can't logically remember. See, I've done it that way on purpose. And so you're like, oh, I've already done this one, but no, you haven't. So I think there's 3 dice ones. I'm bringing up 3 advanced dice ones that are even quicker. Just put up signs and synchronicities, but that is for the lessons ones. So there's a couple of tiers. There's just a tier, which is Ruby, just for the games, the intuitive games, and that's all you get, all of the games. And then there's another one that's a little bit more dearer. It's a few dollars more a month. I think it's $5 or $8 or something like that. And then the $8 one is all the lessons as well. I just put up a signs and synchronicities lesson that was a really powerful lesson. And it also had at the end of it what the numbers meant, 1111, when you keep on seeing them, signs and that sort of thing, right out till 10 and so forth. So, and also a chart with the alphabet and the numbers and stuff, so that you can work it out for yourself when you see these signs. But yeah, a lot of information before that on that lesson. So anyways, yeah, it's a cool school, and I want it to, I'm really excited about it because I finally feel like I've got my teeth into something that I want to. I'm sticking to it now because it's fun making the games as well for me. I love doing it. So yeah, and I'll only get better too as we go along. Okay, is there any tarots that want to come out for the humanities shift? This huge shift that's happening at the moment. Oh my God, they're telling me it's a drop in the water of what's to come. It's a drop in the water or a drop in the ocean of what's to come. It's literally you dropping into the ocean and becoming the ocean itself. Becoming one with humanity's consciousness means that when you come from that level of awareness, you're only coming from love. So all your decisions are based through that, because that's returning back to source energy. That's who we are at the essence of ourselves. And that's how most of the benevolent beings out there work. They work in this realm, and anything that is reflected out of us that is of lower vibration is only because we haven't found that unique or empowered ourselves of that uniqueness within ourselves. And so we've got that in reflection coming back at us. And then we create the story around it, and it becomes the truth of our reality, whether that be somebody who's in charge of us and we can't control it. You know, we don't know how to get out of it. Well, we have to do the inner work to get out of it. It's really cool. But I'm literally feeling a little lightheaded here, with a drop in the ocean of a huge expansive awareness that's coming towards us, those that are jumping off this proverbial cliff, but we're feeling safe and grounded in this world because our logical mind's now on board with our intuitive mind. We're in cohesiveness with it. We see the value of both. And so we're now feeling safely grounded in this world too, which means that's why the physical gifts will start to show up, where you will feel safe because you start to plan or create, plan and imagine, they're saying. Plan as in your logical mind, imagine as your intuitive mind working together, the plan coming in with the imagination to create the reality that you really desire for yourself. And then an aspect of that, when it becomes a reality, everyone else will see it as well as, oh my gosh, that person got what they really wanted, you know. It might not be for them, and we're all unique in that way. We're all going towards different paths, so that we create a unique world to live in, and we can share and the adventures that we've created from our imagination. It's going to go vast, a vast expansiveness, because humanity's imagination was the core essence of how it literally, they said this is the reason why they never humanity didn't disappear, because source energy loved playing in the imagination of humanity's consciousness or awareness. It was so expansive, and it was such value. The true value of humanity will be their imagination again, instead of how much do you own outside of you, and what kind of status do you have in your job. Excuse me. Because we will now be able to use our imagination to navigate our life and create a different life. So the imagination becomes the big thing, right? The big deal. Hey, Diane in the chat bar, good to see you. Yeah, thanks, Kathy. Way to use your gift. I love that. Okay, keep going. Let's see. We have got a card. I'm shuffling away here. We do have a card face down. Queen of Pentacles. Oh my God. Gifts coming in from the feminine aspect of oneself. You cannot get a better card for that, right? Like literally, these are going to multiply many, many times. They're showing me the bunny, the little rabbit just multiplies and multiplies, right? Just that's how it survives. It just knows how to multiply this money, this wealth. It understands that to feel, the queen understands to feel inside oneself is abundant within oneself, means that it's just a matter of time that it actually shows up. And timing being of divine timing of in frequency with that of the outside world, and how the story plays out with the logical mind. Does the logical mind let go enough for the story to become a miracle, or does the logical mind have a play in it, as in creating the adventure? See, you could choose. And it just is, it's just a lot more beautiful because we have a lot more choices now, and we're not just conditioned by creating by the logical mind only. Fun, a lot more fun. Okay, what else have we got that's coming out here? Five of Cups in reverse. So Five of Cups, there is this you know, as you're sitting on that precipice of what's to come next, and there might be a feeling of going into that, those fears coming up again, of anxiety or something, of I don't, it's just your last ditch effort of your masculine or logical mind needing to know that letting go it allows. And they're showing me turning around and seeing that always in the background, because of your mission and your soul's work, even though you were kind of in the thick of the fear of it, through it, was always doing the work. There was etheric buildup of work, of what you really desired. And so it's just a matter of letting go now. And then when you do let go, it'll just ping forward for you. It'll come forward for you. You'll, whoa, it's there. Like, and they're showing me when you're in a thick of anxiety, like maybe something will come up that will just really push your buttons, or really remind you of the limit that you were in before. That's fear sort of base that the logical mind can sit in, and that saying, push through it by saying, no, I'm not going to let this story become part of my story. I am going to at least either shift my mind to imagining something else and feeling into that. And I'm going to literally, it feels really weird, but you might have to force yourself at that end result and go, I do trust. You know, I am safe in this space, in myself, and that sort of thing. Because it's like that rubber band that's been pulled back, or the arrow that's been pulled back and going to fire forward. It's right at that edge. And so when you do finally say to the logical mind, you need to let go, completely let go of that story. We don't want that story to happen to us. Then you will be shown what to say, how to say it, and all that as you progress. And if it is that you need to let go of certain people, jobs, it will have to be done. Thy will have to be done. Thy will have to be done. It will have to be done. Yeah. I'm feeling somebody channeling through somebody at the moment, and they always speak in thys, and yeah, it's interesting. Thy will be done. Thy will be done. Sometimes when I channel and write, those words come out, and I'm like, definitely not me. Okay. Four of Cups is also coming in. See, this person, there is a couple of Four of Cups here. And another deck, she's looking up at the cup. And this is like, I've done enough. I've done enough. You've done enough. You have gone through the thick of it. You've helped as many people as you can by going back and forth. It's time for your time now. It's time for you to shine now. It's time for you to actually see that cup that's overflowing with all of those gifts, that beautifulness that you wanted to bring through. It's time to stand up and be counted for. It's like if your soul was a magnificent soul, And if the humanity was in balance, right, when you were born into this world, then the balance would see the magnificent grounded into this world. And so you would already be held up in status. That's showing me Dalai Lama was one of those people that were found as a child. I mean, we've all got, I could say that name and everyone goes, "Ugh." Some people have got stories about him, and I'm not caring about the story. I'm just talking about the actual energy. But that they, as an Eastern world, were still connected to their intuitive side, and their spiritual side was in seek of the soul that was born through a family for uprising and of value that they felt was needed. And so too, as you start to ground your soul into your body and you start to envelop the love and the vulnerability of your soul, being present more in this world, be present. I am really present, and so I'm always in tune with my soul. Then your reflection will start to bend your universe. Your song of your uni self will start to bend, or your vibration of your uni self will start to bend towards who you are and that status, and that as that beautiful, amazing, incredible soul that's come into this body. You're no longer hiding from your soul, so you're no longer limiting yourself and feeling awful about who you are. So you're grounding more of that. and then you will see a different world as well, being created around you, because you've acknowledged that part of you as the power of who you are. I mean, we are taught to fear the power of ourselves because we're taught to fear responsibility. We're taught to fear taking the reins to creating our own reality because we're taught that we aren't that good. And this is what's changing in humanity's consciousness, a shift that is changing as well in humanity's consciousness. Look at the Temperance card that's come up, that balance that we are needed to step into this new shift. We aren't afraid of the ice cold water or the fire water. We aren't afraid of any of this anymore. We are using everything to our advantage by acceptance of it. And we also, in this hand was the sun. So you see how positive we're moving towards. Literally, the two kids as well, we're playing together. They're creating the golden light from within us. We become the source of the next wave of those waking up, as we start to show that, yes, you too are a creator of your reality. You just forgot that you were. And you, by diminishing that, you felt like you were burdened with a lot of issues and problems and fear and people coming at you to show you where you were lacking in your own power of self-acceptance. We have the Page of Wands that's come forth as well. So stepping into taking action with this. So it is a bit of a vulnerable position to be in when you've never been here before, and taking responsibility as you as a soul in this body as well. And then I'm saying harvesting that, which creates your reality. Okay. Yeah, and then you start to do the actions as that magnificence that you are. And we all are magnificent when we look at ourselves through the eyes of source energy, which is you going on that journey, that love journey. It's pretty incredible. So yeah, just wanted to pull those few cards and higher dimensional cards as well. I mean, I can't help myself. Once I'm here, I get into it and I don't stop. Okay. We have lost land, soul memories and gifts. You've done this before. So those that are actually awakening now have literally been on other worlds, other dimensional spaces where they have helped shift something that was stuck. And so they go into the stuckness, they feel into you as a soul was born in another world, and you fell into their stuckness, and then you navigated your way out because you know the power of your soul is just love. So you navigate your way out. You're the one that gets the scythe and creates the path, the newness. And it's difficult. It isn't the easiest. There's tension, there's fear, there's all that sort of anxiety and everything that goes on with this. But then you find that space that you've created where you've carved them out of the path. They're showing me when I was about 19 years old, and I had this profound dream of going up an escalator. Every time they take me into another dimension, I either go in escalators or lifts or flying or something. It's really funny, but I went up an escalator. Then I was at the place at the bottom of a mountain with everybody else, and then I started walking up the mountain, and it was tiring. And I got half or three-quarters of the way up, and I'm like, I'm having a rest. So I literally had this rest for a few years. And then I'm like, go back up again. And literally, this is what my life has been like. And then we're like, oh my God, are we ever going to reach the top of this freaking mountain? Um, and then when we get to the top of it, I was just amongst everybody else, but all of a sudden before us was a ginormous maze. And that was the maze of the story of what humanity has been going on, caught in it, where they were stuck, they were looping in like a labyrinth that they just couldn't get out of. And they started to scream for help. And so we were born those that come from higher dimensions. And so everyone turned to me and said, you're showing us through. And so we had to go into the maze, we had to lose ourselves to find ourselves, to help others to pull them out. And that's the story of a lot of some of our missions, right? Now that we're on the other side, well, we're coming towards the other side of it, we need to show them that beautiful things can happen in this physical world, that miracles can happen in this physical world. And so we become that because we have learned how to rebalance ourselves and find out and navigate our way out. And we've done this before in other dimensions on different planets and that sort of thing. That's why you were chosen as well. But you also have a soul. Your soul is also learning a lot from this. So it's not just you were chosen because you've done it before, but your essence of self pulls into the essence of, or the vibrational of Mother Earth, because you were to learn something for yourself as well. So you are both the teacher and the learner at the same time. And all of us are. Whether you were stuck in the maze for a while or not doesn't make any difference. Through the eyes of source energies, we're all of equal substance going on a journey. It wouldn't have happened. That had to happen, so to speak, so that humanity could find out all about the masculine world, the physical world, the outer world, the logical mind, that sort of thing, and empower it. Because if it wasn't empowered, it wouldn't be able to meet or match the feminine aspects of ourselves, which was already powerful from the Atlantis and Maria ages way back. And that was working with the etheric world and imaginings coming into place. So it had to learn to stand its ground next to. And now we have this collaboration. That's where that temperance card comes up. Collaboration of learning the true value of both hemispheres, which are exactly the same size, right? We don't have the right brain bigger than the left brain, or the left brain bigger than the right brain. It's more active, but it's not bigger as in physically, because they're supposed to be of equal standing as we move through our life. And we have to learn how to navigate through that. So this is awakening up of our feminine aspect, of our intuitive side of ourselves, so that we can now say to our logical mind, our grounded logical self that is already empowered, step back a bit so that I can come up and show you my power as well. We can meet in the middle and we can carve and create this absolutely fantastic new world that we really want to create here. So yeah, I think I will leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for being part of this really like Sunday morning. Maybe I'll do some more of these if they keep on coming through with these messages pulling me to go live, right? And I'll start listening to them more as well. Yeah, so love yous heaps. Until next time, bye.